Hello. I want to continue doing the little Textools tour or overview that I was doing. One more time, I want to remind you that if you haven't, you should check out Cell's videos, especially if you're like a beginner. Cell's videos tells you where to find things and how to make mod packs real quick. So it's like a good starting point if you know nothing about Textools. This video in particular is a little more aimed at people who already had experience with text tools and they are having trouble navigating it or using it at the moment because of all of the different changes. So I'm going to mostly focus on that. If you are very new and you still want to watch, be my guest. But there might be some things that you will be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and that's fine and that's normal. I am expecting to make like a proper class where I talk about how textures and models work in Final Fantasy XIV, but that is not this video. And also, just a tiny disclaimer that TextTools is being updated very frequently right now, mostly with a lot of like bug fixes and things like that. So there is a chance that some of the things from the layout will also change eventually, either in weeks or months. But hopefully it doesn't change too much. And if it does, I hope that it becomes more intuitive and people are able to figure it out without help. We have here our model of just a random vanilla thing. And the models right now continue working as they did. You can still go over each of them and change them. You might notice that just things load a lot faster now, thankfully. And for the viewer options, we have a few things, particularly the shape deformations. I think maybe not for this because it's closed, but if you want to see maybe like the how the different mouths and ears and eyes look like, and when you are working with faces, you can use this to apply the deformation of those shape keys and look at the result there. Um, this also includes the color set. Hopefully you already know, but the color set used to be 16 rows, and now it is technically 32, but they have been divided as like 1A and 1B, and it still works as it used to. Well, here in the preview, you can look at whatever is of a lighter tone is what is being dyed. We also can look at the at each of the meshes separately. You can decide if you want the light uh, coming from one source or coming directly from where you're looking. If you want things to stay the way that you left them camera wise, or if you want them to return to the original view that it always has. There's a bit of like reflection um, bar that you can change. I don't know if all items are affected by it. I've found that some of them, like just moving this slightly makes a big difference, but for some of them, I don't see really any change. Um, but well, um, what else do we have with the models? We have the merge models option, which lets you merge either like this item with some other item that I want to put together, or you can merge it with an FBX that you have saved with something else. whatever. Obviously, it depends on what it is, but as I mentioned in the other video, this stuff is really helpful if you have items that go well together, like ears and tails and things like that, that you want to just have everything in a ring, something of the sort. Um, the edit model is probably my favorite update, which is we no longer need to import. Now it says load, but it's the same as import. You don't need to import the model every time that you want to edit the materials or the attributes or things like that. You can just click here in edit model. You can select your group, select your material, and you can select your parts and the attributes that it has. And now you can also delete a complete mesh group if for whatever reason you realize that you don't want to have one there anymore. So, some shortcuts to avoid Blender. Um, and well, we have also for the more actions, we have the option of adding the model into the full model viewer that I showed in the past video. You can export the raw textures, which is just like the normal, the multi, or the index texture that we we have now, like separated as normal, or you can export them as PBR textures. And what that's going to do is that is going to separate things with the what is known for the PBR, right? So you got the albedo, alpha, emissive, metalness, normal, occlusion, roughness. It's going to just separate all of your materials and textures like that. So if you want to edit a specific layer of it, now you can do that a lot easier. Um, and you can also look at the materials as a separate window. You might know by now that you can look at the materials just by clicking here. Now the second tab is to show all of the material options, but you can also just open it here if you want to like fool around with something or do a bunch of edits and see how that looks. You can do that here as well, and we will look at the options in the materials in a second. You can also do copy model and materials too. So just literally like move this item into another one. So super easy for hair, like just making hair a lot easier to export. Maybe just needing a little of refitting manually depending on the phase that you change it to. And here's also the show raw model info, which I think not your regular modder might not find too much use of it, but you can here look at the attributes, what bones it has, what materials it has, what shapes it has, as well as other information that um, you know might be useful for some people, but I feel like you really need to know what you're doing if that's the case. And you probably are not watching this video if you know what you're doing. We also have another additional menu here, the Hamburguer menu, where you can look at the metadata. This is where you select what bodies you're using, the visibility of the body parts, the variants. All of that is going to be here now. You can look at the variant list, see what other items are affected by or use the same models. You can delete orphaned files, which is basically just that if you installed stuff or decided to change materials around and you are left with materials that you're not going to use anymore, that you left them there but your model is not currently occupying them, you can just click here and it's going to get rid of them. But as you can see, since this is a vanilla item and I haven't edited anything, it has no orphan files. And then additional to that, you also can add a new material, right? Um, when you add a new material, it lets you name it. So it doesn't necessarily need to be B. Here it's naming it B automatically because I already have A, but you can just name it like my material or jacket or whatever you want. That's a very nice change. And the same goes for the texture paths. You can now change the texture path if you prefer. It should be saving it as intended. Or you can make the textures unique, which usually just like uh, changes the name of your texture path, so you can use a different one from the shared model. Um, we also have the shader packs. Here you can select what your shader pack is. I believe all of the Endwalker and Previews gear now uses Character Legacy. So if you're having trouble converting things from Endwalker or pre-Dawn Trail stuff to Dawn Trail stuff, make sure that you're using the shader pack. Here is where you can also look at your color set, right? So you got your Colorset that is now its own window. So this is very handy if you're editing things because you can just come here and look at your model, look at whatever change you're making in the color set, and it's all going to be displayed as intended. Um, and I think that's mostly it. If you want to add a new material, you do it also in the Hamburger menu, but here is where you add the texture itself. And once you add the texture, you can edit what type of texture you want. If you want it to be a normal, a diffuse, there also the option of using the shared path or a unique path. A few extra settings that um, I personally don't know how to use, but everything that has to do with the specific texture can be found here. And of course, you can also go into each of the textures to look at them. And now Textools is very much like its own, like, photo editing mini software, because when you have your texture, you can now change the compression or the type of compression that it has. Uh, you can still look at the different channels as you used to, but now you can also edit them. So, and you can do a bunch of things. You can brighten it, you can darken it, right? You have feel fill, which I had never used before. Yeah, I can feel it. Uh, oh, I see. You can invert it. You can copy it to another channel or swap it with something else. This is a super handy tool. If you decide that you're going to convert your textures and you realize that something is not matching or something is not working as intended, like you can go over each of the channels, find if maybe something didn't change where it was supposed to, and make a lot of the adjustments here, and then just apply changes. You can add an overlay, which for makeup and tattoos and scars for diffuses, super helpful. Like you just need to have your transparent PNG and just click and add your makeup, your scars, your tattoo, whatever it is, and bam, it's done. Similar to the alpha overlay, but this one is obviously specifically an alpha channel. So you can definitely do different things with this, but I think that the main usage that it's going to get is you will be able to make your own highlights and just like paste them on top of everything else. So that's really, really nifty. And well, you can just like resize your image however you prefer. So also nice. Um, and uh, I believe that's all of the like crucial or most important things. Well, perhaps you can also like copy here the current file and move it elsewhere, but um, I think that those are the main things that might have been moved around or changed. Um, I wanted just to like cover all of that very basic stuff that it's important to find when you are modding. But if there is something that you think I missed or that maybe it should have been, it should use maybe its own video, let me know. I am currently planning on doing like the textures and models explanations as like a very bare bones basic, and also one that shows a little bit more about color sets and stuff like that. But that might require a little bit more time. Textures in general are not my strong suit, so I have some homework to do in that regard. But feel free to let me know if there's any other things that you would like me to cover. And if you have any other additional questions, feel free to pop in Modding 101 and we'll see if we can help you out. And that's it. Good luck and see you next time.